Welcome to our YouTube channel. I'm Zeynep, social media editor of Listenary, and today I'm having a chat with an amazing multi-instrumentalist, singer-songwriter Malik Harris. Welcome.
Hey there. Welcome. Thank you so much. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you for joining today.
Yeah, good to be here.
Yeah. So I want to start our conversation with your music, in which we can hear elements of pop, electronic, and rap music, and you combine them together in a very well-crafted and delicate way that you create your own kind of genre. And I think as a musician, it is really valuable that you have a signature. And as a songwriter, what are your inspirations?
Thank you, first of all. That was so nice. I got a lot of inspirations. As you said, I love just combining very different types of music. So I got inspiration from old school classic music like, Michael Jackson, Queen, Prince, but also a lot of soul vibes from the likes of Alicia Keys, for example, or James Morrison. And a lot of influences from rappers like NF, who I'm a huge fan of, or Eminem, Macklemore. I'm a huge fan of 21 Pilots, who also kind of inspired me to write my very first song. Also Imagine Dragons, especially their latest album, but mostly all their music has always been kind of an inspiration for me. Yeah, the list goes on and on, but those are probably like the biggest idols for me concerning music.
Well, we can say that you're a good listener before you're a musician then.
Definitely.
And I want to talk about your latest hits, Rockstars. I think it's a very strong and meaningful piece. For me, the song is about growing up and being somebody, or with your words, afraid of being nobody. And the song captures and surrounds you with its nostalgic feeling. And I think anybody can enjoy and find something of themselves in it. And that's a listener's point of view, and I would like to hear your side of the story. Could you explain the writing process of Rockstars?
Yes, of course. Thank you, first of all. That's you summed it up very beautifully. Yeah, Rockstars, the writing process, it actually started, I first started writing the song after I watched an episode of The Office.
Really?
Which is like a US series. Yeah, people wouldn't think that, but it's actually true. Because I was watching, I was just watching The Office like I always do. I love that show, and I was trying to kind of distract myself. And there was this one scene where it really got kind of deep. When I'm not going to spoil, I don't know if you've seen the whole show.
Yeah, but, I watched the show. Yeah.
You have seen, okay, so there's this one scene, you probably know it then, where Ed Helms says, "I wish there was a way to know you're in the good old days before you've actually left them." Mm-hmm. And that sentence really hit deep for me. I immediately had to like pause the episode and I kind of cried, actually, to be honest. And it just really hit me because that quote alone made me realize how much time I spend, sometimes subconsciously, but just like I spend so much time in the past comparing myself to who I used to be in my childhood, in my youth, and those lighthearted, simpler times, kind of the good old days, and I realized how I somehow, kind of left them behind. And I'm now, as I have grown up, I became like caught up in a lot of, overthinking and worries and doubts in everyday life. And I kind of lost that feeling of being like a child and just not having to worry about anything, and just, this lightheartedness. So, that realization and that like nostalgically looking back kind of thing, that's what Rockstars is about. But also with the song, I'm trying to remind all of us that we should try to find the good old days, not always in the past, but in the present, right now, because I feel like they don't ever really end. But the problem is that we as humans always tend to see the good things after they're over. And I think we should change that and try to focus on finding the good things in every single moment, because there are always great little things around us. We just have to, try to look for them and find them. And if we manage to do that, then the good old days never really end,
I think you really captured that feeling of hope and nostalgia very well. And I think it's not written for Eurovision.
No. I just wrote it like I always write songs, actually. I wrote it last year. And I didn't really think about taking part in Eurovision. I never really thought about it, to be honest. I always loved the event itself, but I don't know why, it never really occurred to me to take part myself. And then last year, a couple of weeks or maybe months even after I wrote the song, a friend of mine, Robin, he came up to me and he just like basically asked like in general if I could imagine taking part in Eurovision, because there was like this application process right now. And I immediately thought of the song. I immediately thought of Rockstars, and I felt like, first of all, I thought, the song might be perfect for Eurovision because it's so honest and it's so personal, and I feel like there are a lot of people out there who might identify with the song and the lyrics and the message and everything. And I knew that with Eurovision, of course, it's a huge stage with a lot of people listening, so I felt like maybe I can reach a lot of people and make sure that they don't feel so alone, kind of, with their thoughts. And also I felt like, I don't know any song from Eurovision that sounds like Rockstars, and especially coming from Germany, I felt like that's like something completely different. So I was like, fuck it, let's just try and see what happens,
Yeah, and I think that's the success of the song, because it's deep and it comes from heart. And we've seen your great live performance at Germany 12 Point, and on the stage you sang and played the piano, drums and guitar. It was so impressive, and as a great song, it deserved to win, I guess. And now you're going to Eurovision without expecting it. And how do you feel about participating in the song contest?
It's hard to explain. I'm just super, super happy and excited and proud. And it's just very, very, there are so many factors that come to that feeling of just, I don't know, I'm just super excited because I've always felt that Eurovision is such an important event, because for decades, it's the only event that I can think of that has managed for decades to bring this whole continent together in a peaceful, celebratory way. It's just like every year, all of Europe kind of joins for one night and just celebrates music and just celebrates togetherness. And, all these different cultures, all these different countries, they just all come together and just have a big party together in a beautiful, beautiful way. And it's the only event that manages to do that, and that for decades. And so I'm just so, so proud to be a part of it and to represent my country with that song that I wrote in my little my little bedroom. I brought it on paper, and now I'll be standing on one of the biggest stages in the world and just represent my country with the song I wrote. It's just absolutely amazing.
Yeah, it sounds amazing and so exciting. And as we're approaching to the end, we have a concept called Listener 505, where we ask you about your music taste. And I want to ask you, what are your 5 favorite Eurovision songs of all time?
Oh, damn. All right. 5 favorite of all time. I got to go with Arcade by Duncan Lawrence, because it's my number 1, actually. Because I really, really love how he managed to... He really changed my perception of Eurovision songs, because so many people always thought of Eurovision songs as to, being like big parties and splashes and colors and dancing and everything. And he just took that all away, and he was like, it was a very stripped performance, just this guy basically playing the piano and telling his story. And that was like it was so emotional, and it was so much about the music, and I absolutely loved that.
Yeah, it's a great song. As listener, we had an interview with him as well.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh man, what's he like?
Yeah, he's so kind.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, that's awesome.
Now that you mentioned
So
it,
cool.
I just flash back to that interview.
Yeah. Oh man, I'm a little jealous. I would love to meet him too.
I think you will. Why not?
I hope so. Nice. All right, 4 more. Okay, let's see. Of course, I've got to go with Lena, Satallite, 2010, I guess it was.
Yeah. She's the winner.
That was like, yeah, exactly. And that was like a national pride for all of us here. It was crazy. We were so proud of her. And she absolutely nailed that performance. Because I feel like she was like 18 or 19.
Yeah,
and just smashing it. It's crazy. Smashing it on that stage is just absolutely, and just like with this, this, I don't know, it felt so, so lighthearted. She was just like, woo, at the end, and just having fun and everything. She was having a blast, and she was nailing it. So it was great. And of course, I always feel like I'm saying it wrong, but ZITTI BUONI.
Last year winner, Måneskin.
Yes, Måneskin. I'm not actually the typical hard rock fan and everything, and I didn't understand a single word that they said, but it still kind of converted that feeling, and this whole song really, really hit me, and it was like, damn, what's happening? It just really, I can really understand that they won because there's so much energy and so much power in the whole, not just the song itself, but the whole performance, and not just the front singer, but the guitars and the basses, and everyone is just so much, there's so much power and fire in this whole, yeah, it's just like an explosion. It's absolutely, absolutely crazy. Then I might go with Conchita Wurst because I've seen her perform one of her performances of Rise Like a Phoenix live, and so I feel like every time you hear somebody live, like you're in the same room and you hear them sing, it's like a different story because there's so much more that hits you because you're so close to them and you can really feel that inner explosion of that human being. And with her, it was absolutely insane. Her vocals and everything, it was just like she's an incredibly talented singer. And the song, of course, and the whole setting on stage and everything, it was just perfect. It was a perfect show. Where am I at? I got 4, right?
Yes, and the last one?
All right. Let me see the last one, which I'm gonna take. I feel like most of them have been so new, so I'm gonna go way back and say Ein bisschen Frieden by Nicole, which is 40 years ago. You remember the song?
No, I don't know. Which year was it?
It was the first, it was, what was it, 82? I think 82. It was the first German win by
right.
Nicole. The little girl with the guitar.
Yeah, I know the song, A Little Piece.
Yeah, exactly. Ein bisschen Frieden. Yes, a little piece. Mm-hmm. It was like this peace song. It was just beautiful, and it had this special emotional sense to it because it was sung by this little girl who was singing about freedom. So it just, the whole message of it was so, it was about future. It was about trying to build a better world for the next generations, and coming from Germany, everything. It was just so very, very emotional, and I think it was just like 40-year anniversary like 3 days ago, so that song is like really playing around much in Germany right now, so gotta go with a little piece for sure.
Oh, amazing picks. Thank you so much. And
thank you.
For more of your favorite tunes, we're going to link your Spotify playlist that you prepared for us in the description, so that our viewers can listen to more of your favorite tunes. Thank you so much for joining us today. It was great.
Yeah, this was so much fun. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, you're welcome, and we wish you the best of luck for Eurovision.
Thank you. I'm looking forward. It's gonna be cool.
See you.
Can't wait. See ya. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.